I'm Gary with the OC Marathon, Orange County, California. Been with the group for about 12 years. But we started a kids run right off the bat. The first year was just a kids run by itself. So after we got to start, we decided to make it a curriculum that had 10 to 12 weeks of school training. Start off with just running and everything else. Youth run should just be easy, right? Give them a little course, give them some bibs and let them run. But we get a lot of people like this little kid out in front here that has all the energy in the world, and he ends up knocking down a half dozen kids. And all kinds of things happen. And so it gets a little bit more challenging because of what happens with just the nature of the kids and their lack of understanding pace and listening to adults, etc. So it's kind of a challenge for us. But there are tons of advantages to having a kids program. And I can tell you just from my own kids, it's like when I say kids go outside and play, this is kind of what happens now. And when I was younger, kids would go outside and play, and it was all about going out and playing baseball and running and doing different things. And now it really is still hit with the handheld. So having a kids run and having them do more activity is just so powerful for them. Kids need to have that 60 minutes of moderate to vigorous physical activity every day. And this really does kind of help with that. It gives the schools a real big chance to have a curriculum that's super easy to deal with. And at the same time, their PE classes have been cut short. They don't have any activity in schools anymore like they used to. So this is kind of a new thing that we do. As far as the community, we go out there with the mayors. We get the mayors to come out and help start the races. We meet with different city officials, different sponsors. So there's a lot of tie-in to our community. We think that's a real benefit. And it's also a benefit for our races. So the benefit for the races, I don't know about most of the events that Philly Marathon probably gets every single TV station out there. We're in an area where we're surrounded by 11 or 12 other big races, from the Disney races to LA Marathon to Carlsbad and Surf City and Long Beach and San Diego and Rock and Rolls. And so for us, we call the press and they say it's just another race. The kids run has become that real driving force for us. We get a lot of press out there for it, a lot of amazing stories, and it gives us a chance to really show what else we're doing out there. It helps us when we start getting permits and stuff the next year, because that's the kind of stuff they remember. It also is a big benefit for us and the sponsors that we currently have. Kia, for example, in this picture, they were a car sponsor for us, and they were just the pace car for the marathon and half marathon. When I decided to say, let's see if we can activate for the kids, it became their best form of activation. We have 8 different heats. Each one of the heats has in the neighborhood of 1,100 kids in it. Our program overall is over 9,000 kids. And so now we have the Kia as a pace car for each of the 8 heats. They bring out their hamsters, all kinds of fun stuff, great imagery. It was mentioned about the event photography downstairs. It's so important. We have thousands and thousands and thousands of just amazing pictures of the kids. We just think it's a huge benefit. For us, again, we started in 2006 for our first kids run. Our first marathon was 2004. And we learned pretty quick that we wanted to be more than just a weekend event. We wanted to be more long lasting. And so we added this curriculum that first was just some stapled pieces of paper, running laps and doing some exercises. And then we changed it and started making it more about games and fun and making it all about the kids not really realizing what they're doing is being fit. It's all about having fun when they're out there. We then reached out to some of our coaches who had been with us for a few years, and those coaches then came in. We had them come in and we created a new curriculum. They became kind of our guiding force on how to deliver that curriculum. And so it was something that's just been developing over years. So maybe a real quick video of what we do here.
On the OC program is a 10 to 12 week training program for kids ages 5 to 15.
I did it last year. It was my first time, and I had a fun experience, so I wanted to do it again. My favorite part about Kids Run OC is that you have a lot of fun running with other kids and with other schools.
By the end of the program, the kids have accumulated 25.2 miles through various games and activities.
It's a program that I wish was around when I was younger, because when I was playing sports, I was often on the bench. And I was on a team, but I didn't really get to participate. So this is a great program that lets everybody participate.
I I work in a high poverty area where our kids don't have the opportunity to participate in sports where parents have to pay a fee. So Kids Run the OC has been great for us.
They like the movement, being with each other and having fun, and I think that's one of the big emphasis with this program is get moving and have fun. And they all rave about the final mile at the fairgrounds.
I want to do it next year because I think it's fun.
The transformation from day one to the end of the program when they have suddenly realized that they can do this. They're really proud of themselves.
This event is amazing. So to have our community come together with the emphasis of health and activity, it gives me a lot of hope for our future and our nation to be healthy overall.
The best part about the run today is that you get your exercise and you get healthy.
The Orange County Marathon provides all the curriculum and all the training that you need. So individual schools just need someone to volunteer and get the program started. For more information, you can attend an information session this fall.
So that's kind of what we do. It's a lot of kids, it's a lot of fun, and they look forward to it. It's so good that what happened is I created a whole other race now that happens in December called Run for a Claus Santa race, and it's all about getting the kids to have a curriculum in the fall as soon as they come back. So they'll have a 6-week curriculum in the fall using our same program, and then we have this holiday race. And we got maybe 1,200 kids last year at that, and then another 2,500 adults. It's a 5K and 1 mile. A lot of the kids do the 5K on that, and they really have a good time with that. The way it works is you got to find someone in the school. So we started this out by reaching out to the Department of Education. I said we want to go ahead and get some lists of the principals. We want to show them what we want to do. Once we started doing that, we were able to get some principals to call us. And what's really cool is once we had 15 schools, 20 schools, teachers move from school to school. As soon as they do, they want to bring the program to their school. So organically, it continues to grow. I think we went from 138 to 150 last year. So even though we're getting pretty heavy saturation in Orange County, we're still finding those schools that aren't yet in it.
So when did you introduce the curriculum again? So
2011 was here.
So
Let me,
the first 4 years you did it as just a kids run, 3-4 years.
no, the second year we started doing at least some fun stuff. Here, so we can just start passing these around.
Yeah.
And those are just different age groups, and I'm going to talk about in just a minute. But originally, it was just some pieces of paper stapled together with some different exercises and running laps. Then we brought in our coaches, and they're the ones that helped us develop what we have here that we copyright and trademark. And it's just fun games, but each one of these things has a nutritional challenge on it. All it requires is a teacher or a parent. A parent has never ran before, and that's what's so cool. It doesn't matter whether it's this program or something else, but you want to make it so approachable that a parent doesn't feel intimidated to all of a sudden deal with 30 kids out in a field. And so that's what we do for that. It makes it really good. And these are the curriculum cards we're passing around, and we've had some fun things. Yeah, so this is our 10 commandments. This is one of the fun things. We push this. If you do these 10 things with the kids out there, really you're going to have some success. And a lot of it is be prepared when the kids are out of school. And once this thing's at their schools, we don't care that whether you do it in the morning, whether you do it at lunch, whether you do it during class, during some break during class, or after school. It's that malleable. You can go ahead and make it fit for you. And so these are just different activity cards based on your ages, kindergarten through 2, 3rd through 5th, and then 6th through 8th. And we've changed some of the names of the games so they're more appropriate for the older kids. Each one has a nutritional challenge on it. The nutritional challenges range from adding a color to your diet or try to eat as many colors at night to having water instead of soda, having a baked snack instead of a fried snack, trying a new vegetable. All these different things are fun things that we add to it. And then each of these cards also has, like we talked about, getting these coaches not to be intimidated. It tells you exactly what to do. Here's the cones you need. And we have packages that you can purchase from us. It's just our cost. Here's what you put them out. Here's what we recommend number of kids for each adult. And here's how the game is played. And it's super easy. A couple of things that are so important for us. And it's these coaches trainings. We have schools already calling us right now about how we get into the program for next year. So we have 4 or 5 new school introduction trainings, and they just come to learn about the program. Do you want to be in it? Here's kind of what we do. We show a video, kind of show them what they're going to be getting themselves into and what we ask of them. Get sign off by your principal or whatever if it's a parent. Other than that, you've got to come to a coaches training. So whether you're a coach who's been with us for 10 years or a coach has been with us, this is your first, you have to all come to these coaches trainings. We have 4 or 5 of those at a hotel and different places. And it's our host hotel, so there's no cost to us. And then what they learn there, they learn everything from what's changed. We had to make a change a couple of years ago to no parents can run anymore. We changed a different year that no coaches. We didn't want our coaches to run. Each of these things have their own reason, and so they learn that molestation policies. We make them sign a document that tells how they are supposed to deal with kids who need to use a restroom and everything else. And so those are all things that we go through the coaches training. And then we have an event day training, which is a few weeks before the race, a couple weeks before the race, and that's because each of us who have races have a bunch of runners who know how to put on tags on their shoes or know what a bib tag is. They know how to register. All these different things. They know what to expect when they're out there. We have these parents have never been through it before. They have no idea how to put a bib on. They have no idea anything. And so we have YouTube video trainings and everything else. So we give the coaches the resources that they can then send out to their parents. Our whole idea behind this was, I don't want to deal with 10,000 kids, but I don't mind dealing with 150 coaches. And so that way we have some great numbers. We really are reaching out in the community. And something I didn't even touch on, a lot of our schools use our curriculum that we passed out in their schools, and they do that with all 700 kids or 800 kids in the school. And then we may only get 30 or 50 or 100 kids be a part of that final mile. And that's the only thing they pay for. They don't pay for anything that's in the schools. So the event day trainings also, we tell them about being there timely. If you have a 10 o'clock race, you can't get there at quarter till 10. We've got 20,000 people in a big field, and you've got to somehow get through there and park and everything else. So it's just all kind of information. Our final mile, it's a fun thing. What you have is it's a closed, looped course, start and finish the same place. And then once they finish, we put them into these individual chutes that are based on bib number, that they have a chute number. And that whole thing is a safety, how we keep them in check, what we have to do. I mentioned the no parents running. A couple years ago, we had a parent got out there, tripped on another coach, fell, broke her arm really, really bad. It was a real problem. So now we just said with each of these heats, 8 heats that start at 8 o'clock in the morning, 8 until 11:30, each one has 1,000 kids in it at least. And so if even a small percentage of the parents want to run, it's a lot of people. So we just said no more parents, except for our youngest heat, which is our 6 and unders.
You have a lot of colors. Do you color coordinate? Like, do they color coordinate by school, or?
They do that on their own. We give them all a shirt. We have a sponsor for.
Yeah.
Not many of those shirts are worn that day. Each of the schools, so each of the coaches, we'll get to it as far as the cost. We charge them $29, but we give $5 back for each kid back to the school. So they know that money's coming. In many cases, that parent or something will actually spend the money and go get some T-shirts for the kids, because they know that money's going to come back in and reimburse them. So they go get color-coordinated shirts. So there's only so many colors. So with 150, there's a lot of the same greens. But yeah, it's pretty cool. So some of the challenges: registration. RunSignUp can do all the things that we need to do here, and a lot of that is getting the parents to understand that you have to go through this online. We don't have any paper registrations. You have to go through this process. We then have a coach's portal, so the coach can go in and see who's on their roster, because they're going to have people who are coming to their weekly trainings, and they're not going to know who that Johnny is. Why is he here? Because his name's not on my roster. And so we can figure that out. We also close registration March 1st for a May event. That's a really important thing. We close it, and then we open up again for 2 weeks to let them set their rosters and get things fixed. But after that, it's closed. You can't get into it. If you're just a parent, if you're one of our runners and you want to get into our kids run and your kid's not in one of those schools, you can't. It's not about kids who want to register for that one day thing. So it's a little bit different than most. This is what's called our Coach's Corner. And each of these things on here, we have every single nutritional challenge, every weekly thing is all on here. And you can click on it. You can print things out. For nutritional challenges, you print it out. It has like 6 on a page. We ask them, the coaches, to cut those and then give them to the kids. They take them home. They're supposed to bring them back signed. All the other things, it's in Spanish. The coaches can go here and really find all the resources they need. And that's continually updated. For the event day itself, 150 schools, each want to have their own location. So at 75 kids and more, they get to have a larger tent. But these are how we do it. So we have color-coordinated locations for different schools, and each of those little boxes are different schools. We have maps all over the place. They know which quadrant they're supposed to be in. They find what color code, and that's how we kind of manage the parents who get there and have to find their school tent. So obviously there's a lot of stuff that goes on with getting 9,000 plus kids to finish running and back to their parents and not having kids lost. Kids are never lost. The parents are lost. We have a lost parent tent. And when the kids, we take them over there and then we reunite them if there are, and there's always a few of those. But what this shows you is when the kids finish their race, they walk this way and then they go into each of those chutes. They're coded on their bibs and numbered on their bibs, and they have to go into these chutes. And then out here is where all the parents are sitting and waiting. And we have to reunite. We literally hand to hand the kids to the parents. And we have to do that in 15 minutes with 1,000 kids before the next race starts. And somehow it works.
So when did you start doing the shoots?
It's probably been...
Was there like a size that you hit and then you were like, we need to start doing shoots?
Yeah. Gosh, I don't remember when, but it was probably a couple thousand kids. We realized maybe 3,000, 4,000 kids. We realized we started
broke it into waves at the same time.
No, we had separate age groups the whole time.
All right.
Yeah, so we did that from the very start. So, and what we do on that is, if you have an 8-year-old, because you can be an 8-year-old and still be in different classes, you can run one heat before or one after your age group, so you can still run with all your friends in your class because of the way the ages work in grades.
Yeah.
So the bibs each have 2 pull tags. The 2 pull tags are one for a parent, one for coach, or for 2 parents. If a kid gets into the loading chute area and they have both their pull tags still on there, we turn them around. You can't run. You got to go find your parent or your coach and give it, because we don't want them in there with both of them on there. Obviously, the school name was on there. I was able to sell a sponsorship this year, so that was kind of good. And then all the other things are they got their medal, they got their shirt, those types of things. Coaches have a coach's bib, and so we can identify them that they actually have registered as a coach and have signed a waiver on the back, obviously. Then doesn't make any money. It didn't for a while, but we $29 a kid, and we give $5 back for each one of them back to the school. The program, if once a coach comes to our coaches training, we give them a curriculum case, multiple ones if they need them, and then they take it back to the school. So that part's free back to the school. They can use it however they want. They could have 10 kids that do the final mile, or they could have 150. We have one school that has 350 kids, so it's huge. Every kid, we don't keep any kids from running, so everything's scholarship. Any of the kids that can't afford the $29, but they must pay $5. We make that a cost of entry. It's one of those things that once a family who is struggling pays $5 for that kid, now they're all in. They know they're going to be, that kid is not going to miss a practice now. If we make them free, and we did it years ago, you have a lot of kids that don't show up. So some sponsorships, we give away some money to 4 schools. We set different kind of thresholds, largest returning school or school to have the biggest percentage increase, different types of things like that, and we give money back for those. In the last few years, it's actually making money now, so that's pretty cool. And that's to our foundation. My race is a for-profit race. I have a foundation that's part of the OC Marathon, and that's where the kids run is, and that money stays within that. And we do shoes, and we do other things. And then kind of some of the stuff I've already talked on, but we started 2 open heats a few years ago. And that's there's a lot of kids that are in baseball, whatever they're in at that stage of the game. And so instead of making them run at their heat or them just not coming, we have an 8 o'clock heat, which is 9 and up. And anyone who's 9 and up can run in that. And then we have an 8 and under heat. And those are both open heats. And then and those have about 1,000 apiece in them. And then we run right through the next 6 heats, which are all age specific.
And that's so that kids that might have other
Obligation, yeah.
So a question from the, do they have to actually go through the expo? Or the parents with the kids, or they don't have to attend your expo?
Our expo is separate. It's going on concurrently.
Concurrently, okay.
Yeah, and so we have it open on one side so they can, after they run or if they have time before, they can go through it. But to your point, out there in that middle area, we have a large kids expo.
Okay.
And so that's where we can have merchandise and do other things. We have a lot of other vendors out in that area. So in that big, you can't really see, it's just to the left of that white pond there.
Do you find that the Kids Run helps generate sponsors for the main race, or no?
I
Is it
keep them
very
separate.
Okay.
Yeah. Mostly because I want my foundation to stand on its own. I don't want anyone to think that we're trying to enrich the for-profit with the kids. But for example, the Kia is returning because they found a lot of additional ROI on the activation from me putting them in the Kids Run. So I have separate Kids Run sponsors, but I will continue to try to think about ways that I can take an existing sponsor or a new sponsor and say, I can give you some love. US Bank used to be my title sponsor, and we would have them over there in the Kids Run finish area handing out medals, even though they weren't a sponsor over there. And then they would give some money to some of our schools and some $1,000 checks and things. So that was kind of nice.
The curriculum you provide, do they do it during the school or is it an after-school program?
It's whenever they want. Some of them do it in the morning. So once you've come to our training and you're in and you're on our website, you take the curriculum box and you take them back to your school, and you can do it 3 days a week or 1 day a week. Some of our schools where the kids have a lot of soccer players and a lot of other activities, some of our very well-to-do, they'll just do it 1 day a week because they have so many other trainings, other activities. But some of our areas, Santa Ana and some of the inland areas, they don't have that many opportunities. And so they're the ones who really, we stress that use this program as much as you possibly can to get the kids having fun and playing.
But you don't see them adopting as part of their PE program?
They do, absolutely. So some of these schools, entire school-wide, use this as their games and activities for their PE. Because a lot of California, I don't know how everywhere else, but we've lost PE in most of our schools there. So I think the most successful programs are right after school, where parents can just come an hour later. We recommend that if it's the younger kids, kindergarten, first grade, that the parents are still there after school, so it's not a babysitting type thing. But other than that, the parents come, a little bit later, and they get an extra half hour or hour. So, but it's however it wants to be done.
Going back to logistics of 10,000 kids, in the chutes, when they come out, I saw something about tear tags. How do you match up a kid to make sure that the right person's picking him up? I mean, is it like Chuck E. Cheese when they see
You have how many chutes? You have 9
We have 12 chutes. So we have 12 chutes, and we have a coach's chute. So the coaches have now started taking a piece of string or something and gathering one of those bib tags for each of the kids. And then we have tear-offs. And they have a little area. Let me go back to that picture. So this final chute over here is a coach's chute. And so these groups here are coaches who are waiting for their kids. Once they gather together, they bring them together, then they go to the coach's chute. We still stop them. What I started this past year, or 2 years ago, was so many of these coaches are still in the run themselves, in the run. And so I said, no more kids. I'm going to show you a slide in a minute why. But for a while, I would take pictures of the start, and I have all these adults near the start. I'm like, this is supposed to be a kid's run. And we had the one injury. So I've now said coaches are not runners. They're participants. I prefer 50% of them act as sweepers, and then I want the other 50%, and it's all kind of, we just hope on averages there. We help the rest of them. As soon as the race begins and they go into this area, they wait right here and they start helping kids get into their chutes and then walk down here. And then what we do is the parents line up around this. I have what's called the DMZ. It's a demilitarized zone. Between where the kids are stopped and the parents is about 15 feet. And we say to the kids, do you see your mom? Do you see your dad? And when we see that they make eye contact, we grab them, walk them out to that parent, and it's inevitably the tall parents have the slowest kids, and they're the first ones there to wait for their kid. And it's like, come on, guys, your kid's not going to be here for 5 more minutes. It's what happens. And so, but it's a struggle. But somehow, 15 minutes is a long time for a kid to sit there waiting for mom or dad. But by the time the next heat starts, we've got all the kids out of there. And sometimes it's by a minute that we do it.
But there's no ID check or positive.
Well, the parent has to have the bib tag that matches.
Okay, that's what I did.
Yeah.
So at the bottom of the bib there's a tag that a parent or
They
coach
pull off,
pull off.
Yeah. So
And
these
the other
numbers
one
match.
stays with the kid.
Okay, yeah.
These numbers match.
That's what I missed.
Yeah. And so that has to match up.
Right,
And then the 12 is for the chute.
okay.
Alright, so now they're in chute 12 with
So the
that
parent
bib
knows where
number,
to
and the bib tag that is pulled off at the bottom is given to the coach or the parent.
Yeah.
From an operations group that kind of started up with this, it seems like you have a dedicated person that's specific to this on your team, as well as the materials, the marketing, and you mentioned the training, but still yet that is. What do you see as like a start of the best commitment from an organization?
Well, I think it depends on what your objective would be for a year 1 or year 2. If it's to just try to get in a couple schools, a few schools, and make it a charter type thing, it's not much. We license this curriculum out. It's very approachable. It's $5,000 for year 1, $2,500 after that, and then I think whatever our board. I have a board for the foundation. I don't have a board for. The race itself is an LLC, but I think after that it's like $1,000 a year just to keep using the program, and that's just. We send materials. We continually update stuff. We own KidsRun.com, and so it can be Kids Run Philly. It can be whatever. We have Kids Run Mexico right now is using our program.
So you provide a template then?
Absolutely. We come out and would be part of the first couple trainings and show how you do things and meet with some key people. And it's not a money. It's one to get more people running and doing things. But as far as a startup. To get it started, other than getting some of the materials, the cones, and showing how to do it, and getting some interested coaches in a room, it's really simple.
Does California have, Pennsylvania now has, if you want to volunteer in a school, anything the kids have to have all of your clearances?
Mm-hmm.
Is that the same in California, or you don't have that very well?
No, we do. We put that on the school. So if they're teachers, they've already done that.
Right.
And so for some of those parents who want to be the coach, they have to go through. I'm trying to think of the name of that, but they have to get the fingerprint.
Fingerprinting, they have to do
Yeah.
the same thing. Okay.
Yeah. So we don't manage that, or
So the school's managing.
right.
Do they have to provide you documentation that
No, they don't. And so far with that many schools in California, which is crazy litigious, we've never had any issues with that.
Okay.
A couple other things. We've had, there's families that are broke up. We've had moms drop off a kid and a dad going to come pick them up, and we've got a kid there with no parent because bad communication. So we try to stress no drop-offs. We try to stress no coaches. All these things are different things that we've just learned through the years. And then what we do every single year, we have a debrief. We look at what worked. We get our coaches in a room. We say, what can we do better? And that's how we continue to kind of change things as we go and figure out things. To your point, we went from 10 shoots to 12 shoots last year. I added that DMZ thing 2 years ago. This next year, I've already got new drawings how I'm going to do it. So now the parents all line up just in this arc around what I have. This next year, I'm going to have the arc plus some bicycle fencing going out another 6 feet. And then that's where we're going to keep the parents. So it just creates more real estate for the kids to see their parents, and for me to get the kids out a little bit further and link them up and give me more chance to get their hand to hand. Because you got a kid who wants, is his dad right there, but he's three people back, and you can't say go because the kid is this high, and all of a sudden they're lost. So we do our best. We have lots of great volunteers. A lot of kids who were in the program before years ago have now come back and they volunteer for us, and it's really pretty cool. And they run our 5K, and that's one of the great benefits. We have over 1,000 parents who run our race now, who never would run a race, but they're seeing how their kids are doing. We get emails from parents who are running it now, parents who nutritionally things have changed at their house because some of the things they've learned and they've tried to adopt. So it's pretty fun stuff.
So do you offer a discount to past kids for the 5K or the marathon or any of the other races? So you know that you have this kid that has participated in the event 3 or 4 times. Do you have means of marketing?
We market to them, and we send them stuff really early. We really don't have any type of a discounted thing. Like, we have a way to do it. We know who they are. We have all the data. We just really haven't done that. They seem to be signing up and doing it. But so, any other questions? That was easy.
It's an amazing program.
It is.
Thank you.
It's very impressive to be able to handle all those kids.
Yeah, and then so I put a couple medals out here, but everybody gets a medal. It looks like the marathon medal, but I've added kind of a kids thing to it. And then we have individual certificates that are all branded. Each one has their kid's name on it, the school name on it, and those are given to the coaches. And they hand those out in assemblies back at the school that says they finished. The kids are in the OC final mile, and then the kids get those. And I mean, it's a pretty neat thing.
Thank you.
Thank you.